GeekZip cave in Huntington, West Virginia.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
Comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, music, wrestling.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
Welcome to the GeekZip podcast.
We are tonight's entertainment.
It's the GeekZip podcast. I am Ryan Zip, joined by Christian, and we have some amazing guests on the line. We've been teasing this all week long. On the Zoom, we have WWE legends Chavo Guerrero and Mr. Al Snow. Gentlemen, how are you?
If I were doing any better, I'd be jealous of myself.
Well, absolutely.
Like DDP used to say, if I was any better, I'd be twins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God, that sounds so like DDP, doesn't it? I mean, totally.
Yes.
Well, guys, we're here because you guys have this big comic book coming out. And by the way, congratulations. I think last week you guys got fully funded on your Kickstarter. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you to everyone out there who supported the Kickstarter and, and supported Chavo and myself and Eric. I think I speak for all of us. We can't express how grateful we are for your support to be able to do this project.
Absolutely. And I forgot to mention that. I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? Eric Watkins, the writer of the series, is actually on the Zoom with us as well. Eric, I'm sorry. I'm excited for Al and Chavo.
Hey, when we're joined by people like this, I fully understand. I mean, we're literally joined by two legends in wrestling.
That's what I'm saying. It's we got Eric too.
This is incredible.
Legend.
And you have to
Legend's
include
just a fancy way to say old. That's all that is.
I disagree completely. That's Al.
There's a difference between a legend and a classic.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm getting to the area of vintage. That's what I'm saying.
Well, vintage makes more money, Al, so it's good.
Yeah, that could be antique.
Antique.
My wife goes antiquing all the time.
There you go.
Thanks to the living room, sees me.
Oh, Al. Now I'll start with you, Al, and then we'll kind of jump from you to Chavo, if that's cool with you guys. I notice, Al, that we're looking kind of behind you, and I see a bunch of comic stuff behind you. So have you kind of always been into comics, or?
Always. Even when I was younger, was a big comic book fan, reader, and then I kind of got away from it for a while, and but being on the road, and Chavo can tell you, I mean, back in the day, we didn't have the fancy phones or anything like that, and you're doing nothing in a car, or you're doing nothing in a hotel room, or you're doing nothing on a plane. So I would read just about anything and everything. I've read War and Peace. I've read all the classic literature. I've read, the Bible, the Quran.
Wow.
And
the Kama Sutra.
The Kama Sutra. Yeah, that was interesting. I just
gotta sneak that in there.
I put my back out a couple times trying to practice.
Oh man, that happens. We've all been there, right, Chavo? We've all been there.
It's supposed to be done with a partner, Al. Not
shoot. Like the old joke, I was this close to the best experience of my life.
Oh, this close. I like you got to have the finger gesture too. That's important.
That's right. Yeah.
So, what titles were you into?
Time
works every time.
It works every time.
Every time. Comic book titles. I'm pretty much. I vary from all. I'm really a big Batman fan, in my opinion. Which I could start. I always try to say something controversial, so I think that Batman's like the only real actual superhero.
Okay.
In comics, because he's the only one that has absolutely no powers or abilities, and he's the only one who actually puts himself at physical risk. If Superman flies into a building, a burning building to save you, he's not going to catch on fire, But if Batman swings in there to save you, well, there's a good chance Batman might not make it out. So that's my definition of a hero, as a person who puts themselves at personal risk. And
if that's the case, think how think how much of a superhero Robin is, because he even has less talent.
He doesn't have any sense.
Stuff on his utility
That's
belt
true.
Than Robin. So Robin is the actual superhero out of the two.
That is true.
Gotcha.
He hasn't even gone through puberty yet, so
Exactly. He's like
so
12.
he's got no sense and no balls. So there you
go. Brother's still trying to figure it out as he goes along.
I totally get what you're saying with Batman, Al. I'm the same way. I could not have said it better myself. Had a great quote about Superman, and that was there was a issue back in the early 90s where he like blew out a star with his breath.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of supervillain is going to challenge a guy that can blow out a star with his breath? But Batman always had to use his smarts, and that's what I always loved about that character as well.
Right. Yeah. I've blown out stars too.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
But not. Yeah. But not with my breath.
Oh, I see. You meant as a metaphor. Got it.
Yeah.
He blew out Star's knees in the ring.
I blew out my own.
Boy, Chavo is quite your ball buster, Al. I tell you. You know?
I know he is. He always is.
Are we going to see this dynamic in the comic book?
Yeah. We have some ball busting going on in the title, maybe a little bit.
There's some really good banter between the two of them. When you write people like Al and Chavo, it's really easy to not screw them up, because you can literally just look through the archives of wrestling. You can look through Tough Enough. You can look through other interviews, and you can just see that the dynamic they have is so easy. So we tried to bring a lot of that dynamic. I think the dynamic between the two of them, if you read it, I think Al and Chavo will agree that it's good. I didn't mess it up too much. I think I got it pretty close.
No. I've said it. We said in a previous interview. I think Eric did a great job, because one of the things I want to make clear is that these are wrestling characters, Chavo's and mine, that Eric stayed very true to, but it is not in a wrestling backdrop. It's a totally unique adventure. It's in a Western backdrop. But the characters stay very true to being the characters who they are, and who from wrestling is just in a different world and a different situation.
Eric had sent me, in the nick of time, by the way, the actual panels of the book, and I was reading through it, and you could just tell that a fan wrote it. I mean, a fan of your. For lack of a better word, gimmicks back then. I mean, that is what Eric brought to it, and I could totally tell that by reading it. It didn't fit, because I've met you, Al. We met years ago at another event, and I was like, this is Al Snow, the character. This doesn't feel like Al Snow, the person, and I just think he nailed that.
Yeah. I think that everyone that's worked on these books have been just absolutely, they're phenomenally talented and just incredibly amazing professionals, and just have done really an amazing job of again taking Chavo's character and mine from the wrestling universe, and then transplanting it into this backdrop of the Western, and it really is truly it has has a little bit of wrestling type nods in it, but it's completely a unique adventure.
Totally see some of those nods. By the way, Eric, I can see Mankind's happy face in one of the panels. I was like, oh, haha, I see that. Yeah. So
yeah.
So it is a setting from the Wild West. Chavo, I want to throw this to you. Now, you're from Texas originally, right?
Correct.
Okay, so like how do you feel seeing yourself as like a cowboy? That's got to be like a boyhood dream kind of come true for you to see yourself with that persona, as that kind of. I get a real Lee Van Cleef kind of vibe from your character in the comic, kind of that darker anti-hero cowboy. And I'm just wondering, what were your thoughts on how you were perceived in that book?
Well, it's very, very cool. I mean, we're all fans of Westerns, and I'm a huge Western fan. I've always been, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood fan, for years back, even since I was a kid. So just to be kind of immortalized like that, it's really cool. And like you said, like that anti-hero type thing,
right?
I really like that. And what's Eric really nailed it to where he really tended like we're straight guys just with these, you know, I'm riding a stick horse and every time I take off you see like a cloud of dust, you know.
Which I love, by the way.
Walking around with Al's walking around with this you know, the head thinks is a person, and but everybody's kind of like just like fine with it. It's
completely serious, yeah.
Take,
no,
man.
no,
It's
they're
really
completely
cool.
serious. It's
something
hilarious.
that I don't know why we didn't really do that in wrestling. We kind of probably could have gotten more mileage out of what we were doing, but you know, it was really cool. It's cool to see it. You know, it really was. You know, because if you look at our characters on TV. In wrestling, we were both kind of, you know, wacky, kind of crazy characters.
Sure.
And at least, you know, at a part of the time in our careers, and different spin. It's really cool. I really liked how Eric did it. So good job, Eric.
Incredible title, so absolutely. So anyway, as I mentioned before, it has been fully backed on Kickstarter. So we're going to see the series. There were all kinds of alternate covers that were just incredible to look at. That was really great. I just got to ask, and I'm going to jump back to you, Al, real quick. You know, when you started the head gimmick all those years ago, I mean, did you have any idea how much recognition it would get to this day? Like not only, I mean, you're almost more remembered for head than you are for like your matches.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if you thought like when you grabbed this thing and went through the curtain the first night. I mean, can you take me back to that moment? When you kind of had this thing?
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Chavo. Yeah.
That, hey, he's more remembered for head, which is an awesome thing because he can do that until the day he dies. If you've got a guy like Lex Luger was known for his body, or Buff Bagwell, they're known for their bodies. All of a sudden they get on screen, and if they don't have that body anymore, well then it's like, you know, wah wah.
Right.
But you got Al he can do this. He looks phenomenal. Still.
You both still look great.
Until the day he dies. So good job. Al, smart.
Absolutely.
You outsmarted him. You wanted to work. Continue. I'm sorry.
But still, I just want to go back to that night. You know, I'm sure that you know they all kind of blend together at this point in your career, Al. But like that night that they gave you that and said, "Here's what you're going to do." I mean, what was running through your head at that time? Just take it and run with it, or like where was your mind at with that gimmick?
Well, nobody gave it to me. I mean, I was trying to show that I had suffered basically a mental breakdown, a nervous breakdown.
Right.
Tried to illustrate that, and really was trying different things and just couldn't find, you know, one that really clicked. And then, you know, was backstage at ECW Arena, and a lot of people don't know that back in the day, that was where the part of the arena was, you know, used to where they constructed the parades for the Mummers Day Parade in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
And I just happened to find an old battered styrofoam head back there and was taking pictures for I just got done working with Great Sasuke, a Japanese wrestler, and they were wanting to take photos for the Japanese magazines, and I picked the styrofoam head up, and you know, and I won't go into the whole story, but
sure.
I was like, well, I'm gonna start carrying this to the ring and treating it like it's real, you know, and
which was great.
And you know, but for the grace of God, you know, styrofoam head, it worked, you know, and
still working
connected with it, and yeah, and it's still, you know, people still connect with it, and for whatever reason, and I didn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I just kept doing it, and you know, and that was at a point where, like, even Paul Heyman never stopped me from doing it. But I remember a lot of times he'd come in the locker room and he was kind of half kidding, but he wasn't. He was like, I hate your manager. And and then he couldn't deny it anymore, that it was getting over, and then that was where he changed his tune, and you know, I
mean, it's such a great gimmick, Al.
I'm eternally grateful. So,
such a great gimmick.
It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it's enabled opportunities like this to work with Eric and work with Chavo, and like Chavo said, I mean, quite honestly, it's an opportunity to be immortalized. You know, for guys like Chavo and myself and other wrestlers. Like, one of the unique things about the art of what we do is that you're only working for moments. You'll spend months to work towards a 3-second moment, that you'll share with an audience that only lives. It only lives, unlike an actor who does a performance on a film or a TV show, that lives forever, as long as, that medium is alive, where that moment that you have with that audience, that only lives for that moment, and it's an incredible experience, and it's part of why we do what we do, but it's even cooler now to have the opportunity to have a bit of immortality, in these comic book pages. They'll live on well past, just those individual moments that we try to create too.
Speaking of iconic moments, Al, I'm going to hop back over to Chavo now. I've
Sure.
got to know the story, Chavo, of how Pepe came into the picture, and kind of like how that started. And was that something you did, or did they bring that to you, or how did that work?
So remember, I haven't done anything with Pepe since like 1998.
Right.
And people still remember Pepe. It's crazy, right? It's just something that resonates. So a lot of people, like what Al touched on, what I was saying, you're working for moments, but a lot of times people won't remember what you said or do, but they will remember how you make them feel. So, there's certain matches, like Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, which one, the 2 in a row. Those were, God, such great matches, and they're awesome. I can't tell you what they did, but I can tell you how I felt watching. Like, we were all at the monitor, and we're the most cynical people out there. But when it comes to wrestling, because we've done it all, we're better than whatever it is. But you watch this, and they caught us, and they made our belief, they suspended our belief. So I can't tell you what happened in that match, but I can tell you how I felt. Like, wow, what a match! Well, it's kind of the same thing with us and the stuff that we have done, and Al's done. They can't remember really what I kind of did with Pepe, but they remember I came out on the stick horse and rode him around. You know what I mean? So it's like, didn't that make sense?
A little.
I think they might remember the wood chipper too.
They remember he got killed, and they're like, "Oh, did you burn him?" Like, the last interview they did, they said, "Oh, he got burned." I said, "No, actually, he put in a wood chipper." And they're like, "Oh, he was." So they know that he got killed. They're not sure how he got killed, but they got killed. They don't remember who killed him a lot of times, but it was Norman Smiley, and it was just like like they know something happened. They're just not sure what happened.
What a fun
They don't
time.
want to talk about
but anyways, that yeah, it's still us. Yeah, exactly. But that's something that just kind of happened. It's just one of those, like Al said, it wasn't something I planned. It was just there. We were at Eddie's barbecue one time, and I was already having an angle with Eddie, and he was turning me crazy a little bit. And his kids were riding around this little stick horse, and I go, "Oh, let me borrow that for Tampa, which for Nitro tomorrow night." Whatever it was. And or maybe it was Thunder, whichever one, I'm not sure. I can't remember. So, and we, I voted it out. And then the next week, I didn't bring it out. And there were signs for Pepe, and there was little stick horses out there. And I'm like, oh, man. And Eddie looked at me and goes, well, you did it now.
I was going to say, did your
like,
merch money in your eyes kind of light up there a little bit, Chavo, with Pepe?
Well, if it would have been WWE or WWF, yes.
Oh, yes. Well, I digress.
Never capitalized on that whatsoever. But that's typical WCW, and that's why they went under. But directly because they didn't sell Pepe's.
Right. That's really, what I thought. Yeah.
That's kind of. I heard it from a lot of people, like Kevin Nash. I remember one time was saying, Gus, like one of the merchandise girls was there, and she was talking to him, and he was kind of being cold to her, and she's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "You have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would I be talking to you?" And she's like, But anyways, so no, they never capitalized on that, and it's something that I wish that they would have. But
Absolutely.
it is what it is. But just something that was organic just happened, and I never planned it. I never planned on going out with it more than one time, and it just kind of stuck, And then you start getting pigeonholed doing that a lot, and so that's when I was my idea. Hey, let's kill this guy. let's put him in a wood chipper, and
the wood chipper was a great episode.
And then, so fun things.
Awesome. What a great story. That's cool. Well, I mean, could you imagine, Chavo, that Pepe would re-enter your life circa 2021/22 in this way?
Well, no, no, but I'm really happy it is. It's really cool, I've talked about the match that Al and I have had at Dave Hero's show. What was it? I'm not sure. Blizzard Brawl.
Blizzard Brawl?
Like
Blizzard Brawl.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So we were the main event, and we didn't even really plan it. There was a head out in the audience. There was a Pepe out in the audience. At one point, he was riding around a stick horse. I had head. It was just organic. It just happened. Everybody loved it. It was fun. We loved it. We had a great time.
That's one of those moments.
It's one of those little special moments.
I think it's so rare that you have something, a part of your wrestling persona that appeals not only to the grown fans, being funny and kind of goofy, but also I know those younger fans particularly loved. I mean, especially Head. I saw whenever I'd go to live events, Al. Around West Virginia here, I would see so many styrofoam heads. I mean, Walmart would be completely cleared out. The bottom shelf with the heads on it in the arts and crafts section be totally gone. I'd be like, oh, Al Snow must be in town. So that's awesome. Right. What a great story.
They'd be banging their heads when he'd do it.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Just banging them off the rails, banging them off the seats, banging them off their brothers and sisters. It was ridiculous.
I read they threw them in the ring.
That's right.
Did they throw them in the ring? Did they throw some heads in the ring? Did you get some heads thrown in the ring at you, Al, before?
Oh, yeah. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't realize, like, those things sting when they hit you. I remember we were in New Jersey for the pay-per-view for ECW, and Francine and Tammy Sitch, Sonny, they were in the ring with me at the end of the match, and they started throwing those styrofoam heads in, and all I could hear was the girls going, ow, 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 and trying to run to the back.
I want to jump in here.
Head would be so painful. Go ahead, Eric.
I know that Chavo's talked about this before, and I just want to show this off. This was one of the old magazine covers.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, it had Alan Head. It had
there's Mick.
Sacco,
and
Chavo and Pepe.
Yeah. Oh man!
I know that. I know Chavo. I think you have a copy of this hanging up in your gym or your office.
I heard that in an interview, Chavo, that you actually have that cover in your gym, right?
I have it framed and put in my gym. Yeah, one of the only covers I've been on. I mean, 7-time cruiserweight.
Which
champion,
is insane. I always thought,
Chavo, ECW, and that's one of the only covers that we ever made. So thank you, Pepe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever Pepe helps you with, thank him, because you never know.
When I first bought my house, like right after, guys, I was still in WCW. I think I was using Pepe at the time. House I'm in. My mailman, when I just started living there, and he's like, "Oh wow, Chavo, I'm a big fan." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." We started talking. Yeah, but I'm not sure about that stick horse that you ride out on. And I said, "Well, that stick horse just bought this house." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, "Okay, well, I do like it."
Yeah, there you go.
That's a true story.
It's like we can become friends.
Yes.
I noticed in the background, Chavo, you got the Los Guerreros up there.
Los Guerreros Mexican Lager. Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
It's from, is it a Losta Brewing is who it is?
So Losta Brewing Company in
Losta,
California.
That's it. Yeah.
That's Los Angeles area. I had done an appearance for them at one thing, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing your own beer?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love beer." So they decided,
I love beer, of course.
They have a great master brewer, and he was one of the first ones to really start home brewing, like in the 80s. So this guy's really talented. He came up with this beautiful, such as tasty, like a Mexican lager, was like a Dos Equis or Modelo type beer. But
so kind of a darker,
better. No, not darker. It's a light beer. So it's got 5% alcohol. It's it's not a heavy beer. It's PA. It's not like that. But we're actually this weekend, the Lucha Brothers at their Republic of Lucha store in Los Angeles, California, are having their 1-year anniversary, and they're having a huge show. This will be broadcast on Fight TV. Well, Los Guerreros, my beer, Los Guerreros Mexican Lager is there, and he's sponsoring, and everybody's going to drink it and hopefully have fun.
All right, that's awesome. Great. That's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
That's great. I hope I'm not bringing up a sour subject, Chavo, but I really love what you were doing with the guys in AEW. You know, I know that probably didn't go the way you wanted, but I mean, do you see yourself getting back into promotions? I know. What are you going to do? Stunt work in Hollywood? I read an article about, right, or something along those lines.
So I'm like a stunt coordinator now, wrestling coordinator, and Young Rock and Glow and anything in wrestling basically in Hollywood's kind of going through me a little bit, or at least I get the crack at it. But it's all good, man. Hey, it's all good. I enjoyed my time there. It's hard for me not to carve out that spot in Hollywood because that's your union, your SAG union and pension. So plus my boss Dwayne Johnson over and coordinate his shows, and then it's your insurance, it's your pension. So it's very hard for me not to pass that up. So I stepped away from AEW. Not saying that I'll never be back because anything is possible in wrestling. And hey, it is what it is, and good. And I've got a bunch of things going on, like this comic book and this beer, and I've got a lot of irons in the fire.
I was going to say, you seem like a busy dude, so yeah.
Your time in wrestling is tough, so it's very hard for me to just give up.
Sure.
Which is good. It's a good thing because, when you're in wrestling, that decide to leave wrestling, you're like, okay, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
So that's a good spot to be in. Right.
Well, congratulations for everything.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it. I was the same way. I was in the same boat. He reinvented himself, and everything that we do kind of stems off of wrestling, but it's not just wrestling anymore. Al's got his own OW and his comic books, and Al's got a lot of other ventures going on. So it's kind of the same boat. It's really it's a good spot to be in.
That's great, Chavo, and again, congratulations on the new beer and getting into Hollywood.
Thanks.
I know that's very important to get into SAG and get all that, especially living out there. That's very important in this business.
Absolutely. That's the one thing that hopefully one of these days that we'll be able to change and make wrestling more on the level of other professional sports.
Oh, sure, really. It should be
with unions and just. Union's not an end all be all thing, but at the same time, it's protecting, a wrestler after he's done his time. Does it make sense?
Absolutely. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Very true.
Well, I mean, and let's be honest, based on, what let's say a Major League Baseball player does for many years versus what you guys do for many years. I mean, they've got the protection you guys don't. It makes no sense. It never has. So I share that vision with you, Chavo. I hope that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I eventually it's just such a big.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of moving parts.
I think it's part and parcel. I think it's part and parcel of the evolution of where wrestling has been and where it's going. And, to Chavo's point, it's an eventuality. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's going to take us a little bit of time. It's a big ship. You can't just, turn on a dime. You gotta make those.
And it seems like you guys are making progress in that area.
Well, you hope so. You hope so. And wrestling's come a long way from like my dad's era. It's like back then, if you weren't in the ring, you didn't get paid. So it's definitely getting better, 100%. And just as a wrestler, former wrestler, a person that's in that position, you always want to. It is what it is, and being part of the SAG. It's not always all perfect either. There's times that you're like, be better 100%, but still, where we're coming from, it's like night and day. It's amazing. So when I hear sometimes some of the actors that are complaining about it, I'm like, just trust me, you guys are doing okay.
Right.
Somebody looking out for you.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
Right.
You're doing good.
Well, I know you guys are very busy. I just have like one more thing I wanted to touch on with you, Al, regarding OVW. Now, last year you ended up selling your majority stake in the company, but you remained with the company. What brought that on, and was that just a business move, or was that kind of you wanted to do other stuff, or
a little bit of both?
Okay.
We, with COVID and everything, we had a very long extended period of time where we had literally no income coming in. So, it was, I still have ownership, an ownership stake in OVW.
Oh, okay.
and then but the group of investors now have a majority share of it, and I have several other partners as well in it, and it was a necessity because of helping to keep have a cash infusion and to keep things afloat and keep it moving forward, and also gave me a little bit of freedom. Brought in some resources that I didn't have before. I was doing absolutely everything on my own, and now I've got a couple extra hands. It's still ridiculously an enormous operation and project undertake, but it's got a little easier and allows me to, divert my attention to other things. And, OVW just keeps going strong. We're the only actually accredited. We're accredited by the State Office of Proprietary Education as a trade school for our training school for professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and broadcasting.
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
The only ones in the world. And
awesome.
That is very awesome.
We're on Fight TV, like we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Outside of WWE and AEW, I think we're the only other company that does live television.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And then aside from Fight TV, we're on YTA. We're on Next Level Sports. We're on the Action Channel. We're on Game Plus. I think two other. We're on the Lily Network and RCN Network, which gives us a reach nationally of about 100 million homes all combined.
That's awesome.
And yeah. So
wow,
we're growing. We're getting out there.
And you guys got a live show here in a couple weeks, don't you? Or very soon, your next live show.
Well, we have what we do is I set it up this year where we take a 4 or 5 week creative arc, work towards a television event, like a big television with marquee matches. And then we springboard from there and we work another 4 or 5 weeks creatively to a pay-per-view.
Oh, God. So it's good wrestling. TV. Oh, thank God. I miss that so much on TV these days, real wrestling. I'm a little tired of sports entertainment, to be honest. No offense, Chavo. No offense to what you guys were doing over on AEW. But anyway, guys.
Trust me. Yeah. I'm none taken. Don't own the company.
Right. Well, that's a good answer. Eric, when can we expect to see The Adventures of Al Snow and Head featuring Chavo hit shelves?
It is going to hit shelves in April.
In April, okay.
Yeah, in April it will be available for wholesale. The pre-sale campaign we do through Kickstarter, obviously.
Yes.
Covers will go away. So the Vaqueros cover, that's Kickstarter exclusive.
Yes.
That will go away. We also do the PWI covers, which we do those old retro magazine covers outside.
Favorite one.
Yeah, it's an awesome cover. But the first print is only a very limited number. So once those are gone, it goes into the second prints, and then the metal prints. We do a metal comic size print.
Oh man,
those are exclusive only to the pre-sales.
Yeah,
everything will be done in hand in April. I haven't heard of any printing delays from our printer, but we're really good about letting everybody know if there is a delay. But everything seems to be on track for April, and then this will be ready nationwide starting then.
Dude, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Most of the Kickstarters I've gotten have been delayed, so that's great to hear.
We did Ballad last year, so Ballad was the first title we did with Al, and we did the pre-sales in the middle of May, and we had everything fulfilled 4 weeks later. Every book, everything was out. So the one thing we do versus other people is this book is done. It's done. They're ready. They're here. It's just waiting for the pre-sales to be done.
Right.
Just waiting for you to order it. I need to order mine.
Yep. Just waiting for people to order it. The books are done, finished, ready to go. We never put anything up unless it's finished and ready to go, especially with the way the world has been for the last 2 years. Delays are so bad that I don't want there to be a delay once people are expecting something. Because we were delayed on this one for a while too, just on the production side.
We kind of talked about that when we started talking about the interview.
So we're ready to go. This is just ready for people's orders. And The reason we do it this way is so the exclusive covers, they're printed specifically to the number of people that back them on these exclusives. So these exclusives will eventually be 1 for 50s and 1 for 75s. That Vaquero cover, for every one of those that's in existence, there's going to be at least 50 covers other than that one out. So they're the rarest covers that you're going to get. We've done with the ballad, we did a couple covers that were 1 for 50s and 1 for 100s. We did some limited edition like Wizard of Oz for a comic show in Rochester, New York. And
nice.
We've done some various variants as we go along. We have a lot of retailers that are super excited about Chavo being
I can imagine
this book.
Yeah.
So I have a list of shops that are ready for custom orders for just themselves. So if you want rare covers, this is the way to get them, because once they're gone, I mean, I've seen some of Al's ballad covers go for $50-$60.
Dude,
so,
it's such great artwork, such great stories. Keep sending people to the Kickstarter link in the meantime, Eric, to look at this stuff that they can get.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a hold of the book. Al Snow, Chavo Guerrero, gentlemen, I know you're very busy. I know you were on different time zones. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much
guys.
for your time.
You guys have been great.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you guys. Good luck to you guys. And it was fun chatting with my boy Al and everybody else, and Eric also. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Al, I just got to hear it once. I just got to hear it once, Al. Come on.
What does everybody want?
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. I'm glad.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the GeekZip podcast. Follow us on Facebook at GeekZip with 2 Ps.